Have you ever looked at a simple plant and just wondered, what is really going on inside? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and explore the hidden world of plant systems. These are the incredible interconnected networks that let them live, breathe, and grow. Let's dive in. So, to get our heads around this, let's start with a puzzle. Think about the tallest tree on Earth, a giant redwood stretching hundreds of feet into the sky. How in the world does it get a drink of water? How does it pull water from deep in the soil all the way to its highest leaves, fighting gravity the entire time? It sounds kind of impossible, right? Well, stick with me because by the end of this, you'll know exactly how it works. All right, our journey to solve this puzzle starts by understanding a fundamental fact. Every plant lives in two completely different worlds at the same time. One part is hidden away underground, and the other is reaching up for the sky. Let's break down these two essential halves.
First up, we've got the root system. This is the plant's lifeline, buried deep in the soil. It has two absolutely critical jobs. First, it's the anchor, right? It holds the plant steady so it doesn't get knocked over by wind or rain. And second, and this is so important, its tiny little root hairs are constantly at work, soaking up all the water and essential minerals the plant needs to survive.
Now, everything we actually see above the ground, the stem, the branches, the leaves, that's the shoot system. You can think of this part as the plant's solar-powered factory. It's the part that's reaching for sunlight to create food. It's also in charge of making flowers and seeds to create the next generation. Here's the thing, though. Neither system can survive without the other. They're two halves of a whole, always working together. So what are those roots actually absorbing from the soil? Well, along with water, they're pulling in some really vital minerals. Let's look at two of the most important ones. There's magnesium, which is right at the heart of the chlorophyll molecule. That's the green stuff that captures sunlight. Then you have nitrates, which are crucial for building proteins, the actual building blocks of the plant. If a plant can't get enough of these, its leaves will turn yellow and it just stops growing.
Okay, so the roots have absorbed all this water and minerals. Awesome. But how do those supplies get from, the basement all the way up to the penthouse? This is where our journey takes us inside the plant to look at its incredible internal plumbing.
The best way to think about it is like a superhighway. Seriously. Running the entire length of the plant, from the deepest, tiniest root tip to the very highest leaf, is this amazing network of microscopic tubes. We call them vascular tissues. And this is the transport system that connects those two worlds we were just talking about. Now, this highway has two very different lanes. On one side, you've got the xylem. This is like a water elevator. Its only job is to move water and minerals on a one-way trip, straight up from the roots. On the other side, you've got the phloem. Think of this as the plant's snack delivery service. It takes the sugary food made in the leaves and delivers it to every single part of the plant that needs energy. It can go up, down, all around, wherever it's needed. So the water has now finished its long trip of the xylem elevator and has arrived at the leaves. And this is where the real magic happens. A leaf isn't just a leaf. It's a highly efficient, totally solar-powered kitchen. Every great kitchen needs a recipe, and the recipe for photosynthesis is arguably one of the most important on Earth. So the plant takes two super simple ingredients, carbon dioxide that it pulls from the air, and the water that was just delivered by the xylem. The energy source? Pure sunlight, captured by that green chlorophyll. The plant then combines them to produce two incredible products, glucose, which is its food, and oxygen, which it releases into the air for the rest of us. And here's that amazing transformation in a simple equation. On the left, you've got carbon dioxide and water going in. Then, with a little help from sunlight, what comes out on the other side is glucose for food and the oxygen we all breathe. The wildest part is that plants are literally building themselves out of thin air and water. It's incredible. Okay, making sugar is one thing, but how does the plant actually use it to power its daily life? To grow, to fix itself, to reproduce? Well, that brings us to the next crucial process, which is basically photosynthesis in reverse. This process is called respiration, and it's happening in every living cell of the plant all day and all night. The plant takes that glucose it just made, combines it with oxygen, and burns it to release all that stored energy. This is what powers everything the plant does. And get this, what are the waste products? Carbon dioxide and water, the exact same things it started with for photosynthesis. It's a perfect cycle. Now, plants have two ways to do this. The main one, the most efficient one, is aerobic respiration. It uses oxygen and it releases a ton of energy. But what happens if a plant's roots are stuck in, say, waterlogged soil where there's no oxygen? It can switch to a backup plan, anaerobic respiration. This doesn't need oxygen, but it releases just a tiny fraction of the energy. It's basically a short-term survival mode.
So we've seen how water gets up the plant and how food gets made and then used, but we still haven't fully solved our big puzzle. What's the engine that's actually powering this whole system? What's strong enough to pull water up a giant tree? Well, the answer lies in how plants breathe.
The whole process is called transpiration. As a plant opens up these tiny little pores on its leaves to take in carbon dioxide, water inevitably escapes into the air as water vapor. You can pretty much think of it as plant sweat. And for every bit of CO2 a plant takes in, it can lose hundreds of times more water out into the air. And this is the key to our puzzle. As each single water molecule evaporates from a leaf, it pulls on the molecule right behind it, which pulls on the one behind it, creating this continuous chain of suction. This chain goes all the way down the xylem to the roots. Transpiration is the engine. It's like sipping on a giant, invisible straw that reaches from the sky all the way down into the ground, pulling that column of water up against gravity.
Wow. Okay, we've traveled from deep in the soil all the way up to the sky. We've gone from making food to using it. So after all that, what's the most important thing to remember from this whole interconnected process?
Well, the biggest takeaway is just how beautifully integrated a plant is. It's a whole system where every part has a vital role. That simple act of water evaporating from a leaf, transpiration, that's the powerful engine pulling water from the ground to the sky. And through it all, you have the amazing process of photosynthesis, using just sunlight, water, and air to create the food that powers nearly all life on our planet. So the next time you see a plant, you'll know about the incredible hidden world working away inside.